Illuvium Showcase is here every single month, bringing you all of those leaks that you desire. Hey everybody, how are you doing? Andrew Wall here, host and executive producer at Illuvium, and I'm so glad to be back, bringing you all of the best updates and behind-the-scenes content here at Illuvium. And of course, this show is nothing without co-founder Grant providing you that juicy context and all of those rocks that you desire. Grant, how are you doing today, my friend?
I'm good again, man. I'm real good.
Fantastic. Now, Grant shared with all of us on Discord a bunch of really cool leaks. So if you're not already on Illuvium's Discord and the leaks channel, most of the leaks, actually all of the leaks, are now posted there first before they hit this show. But in this episode, we do have some exclusives, some high quality NFTs I can't wait to share with you, as well as some audio that you've never seen before. So before we get into the episode, Grant, you know what we gotta do. We have to tell everyone that this is not financial advice. Why did you think that? Seriously, do your own research, read this disclaimer, and realize Grant and I are just talking about the creative aspects, the behind the scene aspects of what's going on at Illuvium, and this is not in any way financial advice. I have so many videos, Grant, to play, and they are so high quality and they sound so good. You want to get into it?
Yeah, man. And there was a lot of cool stuff this last month. There's a lot of, I don't know what you've got planned to show, but I know that there's been a lot of really, really cool stuff. Like, I don't know if you're sharing any of the Tiger Boreal updates, but
I didn't put in the Tiger Boreal updates because I was just trying to only show the more polished stuff.
Well, if you don't get it in, at least they're in leaks right now. So
They are.
anything that's not there, people can go back and check. So there was
Indeed.
a lot, though. This month has been a very, very, I don't know if I've leaked everything. There's a few really, really cool things that are looking quite amazing right now that I can't share, but it's been a great month. The cinematic is going to be ridiculous. That I'm excited for. Illuvials in the Overworld we're making progress on. Auto Battle UI is coming together, so maybe they're not shared yet, but it's very exciting times in the studio.
Yeah, I think we had some Augment icons, I think, that were shared as part of the UI refresh there for Arena, so we can show that today. So much progress, and this is some of the most impressive progress. Let me just show some of these. You guys have been able to see the progression of the NFTs and them becoming this AAA quality that Grant keeps talking about. Well, here you go. What status is this NFT in, Grant?
It's basically done. So we're just this is Benjamin working on the sound, right? The music that goes into the NFTs. So we're going to end up getting more. I mean, yeah, now you've got the background music off now, so you can kind of hear the correlating music in the background of the NFT. So there will be a stage 1 fire track, a stage 2 fire track, and a stage 3 fire track. This is stage 1 water. So if an alluvial falls into that category, or even a composite affinity, you know, like spore or dust, we will have a unique 30-second, minute-long music track to accompany the NFT that just gives it that final little bit of polish.
Let me give that full volume water stage 1 track for everybody. I'll play that in the background so you can hear it full volume. Check this out, guys. 20 seconds. Here's the track he's referring to. So watery.
And these are sounding amazing to me, but we obviously haven't tested these on all of the Illuvials that we have so far. So, I mean, to me, a lot of these are final, but we may shift some of these tracks around just because they suit different NFTs better, but it's very cool.
Got it. So for those of you that don't have your headphones on, get them on. We got lots of audio for all of you. Uh-oh. Grant's video feed just cut. You still there, buddy? Oh, he's back.
Yeah, I'm still here. I'm just sneezing.
Oh, okay, cool.
Taking control.
Just I mean, Grant, help us understand here, man. I thought NFTs were just supposed to be crappy looking JPEG pictures that don't do anything. I mean, this has background music, it has sound effects, it has AAA character, it has motion, it has these beautiful looking backgrounds, and it's like ultra premium. Why are we going to this level with these NFTs? Why not just do a crappy looking picture, Grant?
Because this whole industry was filled with a bunch of scams for so long, and I think the residual effects of that is that it never took off like it should have. You know? I think all of us know by now, you've seen so many of the showcases, you've seen so many times me talking about the NFT quality, but it needed to be better than everything else, even in mainstream. We're not trying to say to crypto people, hey, we've got better NFTs than people. We're trying to say to people who are hating on NFTs and think that the entire industry is a scam, that actually some people took it to another level and reconvinced those people that gave up on it. And I think we're very, very close to that. You're seeing now, I mean, I don't know if the quality stays consistent through the stream on YouTube or whatnot, but the quality is really, really coming through now. The only thing left on some of these that you're seeing is just ambient VFX on the NFT. So
Ambient VFX, got it.
Yeah.
And so what do you mean by that? Are you talking about VFX like, let's say it's a fire illuvial, fire coming off of it, or like the VFX that you would see in the arena from there? So for example, this illuvial has it has it, but some of the others that we're looking at do not currently have it that we're previewing right now.
Yeah.
Got it.
So we will need to add that to some of them, but the amount of work that we've put into these at this point, even if a studio did want to come in and try and outdo us in this regard, it would take them at least as long as it's taken us. You know, like 2.5 years now we've been working on these, and you know we're nearing completion. And the cool thing is, Dimitri, Connor, and I are soon to be working on these full time. You know, Dimitri has been working on these full time for the last 6 months. But Connor, who has been doing the Illuvium Zero artwork, has now freed up on Illuvium Zero. We are art locked on Illuvium Zero, and we will now have a team of 3 of us working on all of the NFT artwork, including the non-alluvial NFT artwork, just like in-game items, like upgrades for your drone and the augments. You know, all of those will be just as high quality as the NFTs you're seeing here. And we've got to get those out for open beta. So, you know, we're grinding away on those, but you're seeing the end result of something that has been truly a passion project for us. It has taken the entire team to get these NFTs to this state. Every single stage is, and these are in-game assets, by the way, like, for people who aren't aware. These are the same assets, same textures that we use in the game, except the model has a high resolution displacement on top of it. So the animation, not changed. The texturing, not changed. The only thing that's different is the render engine we use, but these are the game assets. And I was saying so long that when we come to do cinematic quality work or a Netflix series, this is the type of stuff people want to see. And if you go watch the latest Pixar movie or Disney movie, you see we're matching or outdoing the quality of those studios. So
I agree. I watch those Pixar movies with my kids all the time, and I'm looking at the quality of what we're doing. It is on par. And I love how these NFTs are, like you're saying, they are literally the in-game assets. You want to talk about an NFT accurately representing what you're getting with the NFT. This does it. I mean, pretty much every in-game icon, if you will, that you get in video games is like some sort of like a cartoon representation, if you will, or a caricaturized version of what the item actually does in the game. But these are literally the same thing, but an ultra high quality version, which is wonderful. And Earthworm Jim is asking, what are these NFTs actually used for in the game? So the ones that you're looking at right now, these are our Illuvial NFTs, which you can capture in the Overworld. And then you take these Illuvials, and you'll see in some of the leaks later, Earthworm Jim, we take these Illuvials into the arena and battle them to climb the leaderboards and to play deep strategic combat in our auto battler. So each of these are not only collectible, but you battle them in a really competitive and fun auto battler game. These NFTs are fantastic. The team has just put in so much incredible work here, Grant. It has really paid off.
It's absolutely crazy. And if you really think about where we are in like the modern state of the world, digital ownership hasn't taken off yet. People don't feel like something can be on their computer and they own it. And that's something that's very daunting to try and tackle. How do you compete with owning a physical Pokemon card that you can hold and look at? I feel like I felt like at the very start of the project that this was the only way to do it, to make a character that felt alive, felt real on the computer. And people are going to have collections of these, in the game. Like, if you think about it, each NFT a minute long with the music and audio, and you have a collection of 40 or 50 Illuvials, it'd take you an hour to just watch your collection scrub through in game. And, it's a lot, but, I've become super attached to these. I've stopped caring about what a Pokemon card is at this point. Maybe I'm heavily biased, who knows? But I don't know. I feel like this is better at this point. Like,
I agree. Well, it's like you guys have been saying, like you and your brothers have been saying, you want to create a game universe that hits like Pokemon did when you were a kid. And so they're more mature, they're more exotic, they're more interesting, they're more high fidelity. And that's going to trigger your senses and trigger your interest now that you're older and more experienced. And it's doing it for me as well. And clearly it's doing it for the audience. I agree. The combination of the sounds with the visuals, the sound is really bringing them to life. So I think you guys can see why the team has spent so much time going totally ape on AAA audio. If you missed the previous episode of Showcase where we went over audio with that team and SFX with that team, please watch that. They've been basically just given free reign to go as high quality as they'd like. Grant, I have to ask you about this one. This one's not as high quality, quote unquote, but it certainly got some interest. This is just a looping GIF. Can you help everybody understand what the idea here is with this leak and just provide a little context?
Said it a million times from the very first day the beta, the first Overworld beta came out. It was very, very obvious, even to us, before that beta went live, that the issue with the Overworld was Illuvials not being in it, right? We have the Auto Battler and we have the Overworld. The Auto Battler has issues that needed to be solved, PvP. Like, what do people want in the Auto Battler? PvP. What do people want in the Overworld? Illuvials. And we always said that was going to be a very long process to get Illuvials in the Overworld, but it has to start somewhere. And what you're seeing here is a GIF that Ergen shared because he's implemented a tool that allows all of the Auto Battler assets, including animation sequences, VFX, everything that happens in the Auto Battler to compile and run in the Overworld, which is the first step towards coding how the Illuvials in the Overworld look and behave. So when you have the Auto Battler, right, the code that game runs on is not the same as the Overworld. You can't just... We're building our own game engine with the Auto Battler, basically, and things aren't cross-compatible between the two. You can't just take the Auto Battler character and go, okay, now it's running around in the Overworld and interacting with the player, and
right.
All the VFX is triggering in the Overworld. Someone has to go in and start that process. So this is what you're seeing is the start of the process, because obviously our end goal is to get Illuvials in the Overworld. And as you can see, it's just a single GIF, but it instantly changes I will have more stuff to share next month on this. Now that this tool, because this tool wasn't here a week ago, right? Now that this tool is complete, I want to show people just a glimpse of what Illuvials in the Overworld looks like by running around with you and showing how just instantaneously that issue of the Overworld feeling empty disappears.
It brings it to life. Yeah.
Brings it to life, and it just solves the Illuvial Overworld problem. And we're doing other things as well on top of that. Like, I haven't I can't share leaks on this, but the wake chasing system, that's something Ben and Aaron have been working on to fully revamp how wakes work and how you chase the alluvial wake through the overworld and watch it morph from an alluvial that's roaming around the overworld. And we've started putting effort into how do we solve botting and things like that. You know, the conclusion I think we've come to now is that there's always going to be a certain element of botting, but if you make the botting insignificant enough to like where to the end user, right? If there's a bot constantly trying to like mine an alluvial or something, they're still paying for the overworld costs, and this will still have to go through council. But I think the conclusion is that not having alluvials in the overworld is worse than some level of botting existing. You know, every game has it, and it's like, what do people want more? Do they want Illuvium to be boring and not have it when they play, but no bots or minimal bots, or do we want to just go for it and do our best to minimize the bots? When I see stuff like this, I think it's very obvious that like we've just got to get them in there. And I thought it was super exciting because from this point forward, we can start to show what that actually looks like. Like, what is Illuvium going to end up being? And there's a lot of unanswered questions like that when you look at people critiquing us from mainstream. They see a demo we put out, they see a beta we put out, and go, yeah, but I mean, it looks good. The graphics look AAA, but where's the game mechanics? Where's the exciting stuff? Where are quests? Where are things like that? This is the very step we need to take to make that, put the community at ease and just show like, yes, you have to wait for it, but we're not idiots. We're not just sitting here going, nope, don't need them. The game's going to be great without them. Trust me when I say we've had a million meetings on just going, how do we get them in? What do we do? What's the process?
We hear you, community. Yeah.
You know, they have to be in there for Illuvium to be, in many of our eyes, a complete game. You know, until that happens, it's a beta.
Got it. That totally makes sense. Thank you for clarifying that. I hope that clears up our intention with that leak for everybody out there, and just re-emphasizing that this is an ongoing improvement and development process. Every episode of Showcase, you see improvements on everything. Even things you thought were done, the team is always improving upon those. Speaking of which, let's go ahead and take a look at this leak right here. Is this improved Nether site? Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yes, and this may be slightly outdated now, so I will share the updated version of this. Sumo has since given me some videos. So like, okay, once again, we can't share the latest in Showcase, but if you check leaks today, I will have some updated stuff on this.
Got it.
We thought,
okay.
Yeah, in the beta right now, like it's a beta, like certain things aren't AAA. And once again, I've said it a million times, if something doesn't seem AAA in our game, it's not necessarily because we're just idiots who just go, oh, it's good enough. It's just a work in progress.
It's not done yet, right?
Not done, you know.
Yeah.
It's the catch-20. It's a double-edged sword. We want to show people stuff early, but then when things aren't done, people complain and critique things, and we've learned to deal with that. And I've just got to keep reminding people, we are a very, very capable studio who has some of the best artists and engineers in the world. And if something's not complete, just hold on, it will be. Everything for us, the goal was AAA. It doesn't make sense if you've got 80% of stuff AAA and then 20% is just not good. You know, it makes the 20% stand out way more. So
Understood.
Things like the other side, things like the heat map scanning from Mozart. Right now, the heat map there's nothing in the game to indicate that your Mozart drone or your companion drone is beaming out that energy beam that scans the world. That will soon be in as well. You know, like there are so many cool things that make Overworld feel more alive, feel more engaging, and feel more interactive. And it's exciting to see that we're putting more focus on these things now. Like it's another crazy thing is we've just finished up all of the animation for Illuvials in the auto battler. So what does the...
Hey, congratulations, team. That's a ton of work. Speaking of
100
which, hold on. We've got, here's an animation. This Omega is complete, is it not?
Yes, the Ophisto, stage 3 squid.
Yeah, I had to put this in here. Anytime we show Ophisto on the show, people flip the F out. They're like, what is this evil dark squid that I must have my hands on? So this is Ophisto's stage 3 Omega.
Look, early on in the community when the Squiz memes were coming out, obviously we needed the stage 3 of Squiz to hit hard. And so for people who are aware of Pokemon, you can see we're a little bit inspired by Mewtwo just with his kind of demeanor.
Yeah, the ominous eyes, the sort of psychic feel, and the floatiness, and the sort of level of control and confidence he exudes. Definitely. Interesting that we were able to communicate the same swagger with Ophisto as Mewtwo, but with tentacles. Somehow the tentacles have swagger. You know, and your point a moment ago that we're constantly improving, even water, this sort of water fluidity improvement. So are these basically, is it just like improved wave physics here that we were showing? I mean, obviously it looks pretty, but what was improved about these waves?
Even this is outdated now.
Oh, it's outdated, so it's even better than this now.
Well, certain things like this, we're unsure of until you test on all spec machines. The other difficult thing for us is we've got to make the game run on older computers and weaker computers. If we were developing for PlayStation 5 game, like a PlayStation 5 game, it's a totally different set of rules. You're only optimizing for one system with a relatively strong and powerful graphics card. We've got to make our game work and look amazing on cards that are worse than a PS5's graphics card. So things like the waves, and you know, it was very obvious when you run around in the current beta, the waves were shithouse. You know, no one really spent any time on that. They're very basic. They look outdated. And one simple thing like waves completely makes the entire amount of work we did on this Sancta Mesa region not look interesting. Remember, we have other regions that are heavily dependent on beautiful water systems, like Halcyon Sea, where we need interactive water slides and things like that. So when you have so much of the core of the game to build out before doing like fancy tech demo-y stuff like this, it feels like we're not making any progress, when really, as soon as we put a little bit of time and effort into things like this, look how much it drastically changes. And this is outdated, you know, but now when you run around, the water doesn't feel like some crappy 1990s game where it's just a texture on the surface. You're like full 3D, updated, modern, next-gen breaking waves. Like, what the hell?
Yeah, that's nuts. And we got wingsuit update here as well. And this is, help me understand I mean, it's a subtle change here, but help me understand what change happened here and how this improves the wingsuit.
Yeah, so I asked Sumo to just increase the visibility of the VFX on the wingsuit. I felt like that was something when you compare it to a Zelda, for example, it just wasn't stylized enough and it was a little bit too subtle. And now, as you're gliding, you can kind of get a better indication of like the path and trail.
Got it. Okay, cool.
The other thing is you'll notice, like, look at the animations right now. They don't look good in this video, right? You can clearly see that as she transitions from gliding to falling, and when she lands on the ground here, just take note of this. This is another example of, you'll see at the very end, she like lands.
Yeah, the video is just looping. So, but yeah, you're saying it's not fully polished, right? So each little piece of this animation needs to be tweaked in, and needs to be, I mean, it will look AAA when we're done. So if anything looks stock, that's not the final product. There you go. Oh yeah, the landing there looked janky. You're right. She just went punk.
Very janky.
Yeah.
Yep. And so what did I just say earlier? Like, we've just finished up, the animation team led by Alex has just finished up all of the animation for the Illuvials in the auto battler. Things like transitional animations in the overworld, jumping, vaulting, the gliding animations, all of those need base animations and then transitional animations between the other animations. And now that the team's freed on the auto battler, guess what they start doing? All of that stuff. And then all of a sudden, in 2 months' time, our movement system and movement mechanics look super unique and interesting to Illuvium. And what now kind of looks a bit janky, and you couldn't compare this to Spider-Man. We have a team capable of doing that stuff if we put the time and effort in. So very exciting to see that, as a game, we've come so far to the point where we are polishing the things that have been kind of ongoing annoyances for us for so long. But it's just, like I said, a very exciting time right now where major things are going in, and people are soon going to start to see an idea of like the final vision for Illuvium, including PvP. Now that we have UI and UX work being done to polish that, and the in-game stages that are required in PvP, we'll start to be able to share stuff on that end very soon as well. So
that's exciting. That's really exciting. Let's play one. You know what I'm going to do for everybody? I'm going to play a number of the songs that we're not going to play right now, but at the end of the episode, during the end credits, as you guys are chatting, we've got the 2 air tracks, 2 earth tracks, 2 fire tracks, mud, nature, steam, tempest, water, and wildfire tracks. I'm going to play a handful of those. Stick around to the end of the episode, crank up the volume, put on your headphones, and we'll play those full volume tracks for you to enjoy those audio leaks toward the end. But in the meantime, we've got a ton of image leaks to show, many of which are really cool and are some new concepts that we have not covered on the show yet. So what am I talking about? Like this one, for example. So help me understand. She don't look like Arlen. Who's that?
No, and another thing for the people who've been around for ages, they know that Arlen is not a playable character in the game. Arlen is the hero in the Illuvium universe. She's the protagonist, but you don't play as her, as you play as one of the rangers. And so we needed to rework the ranger armor so that you had a male and female. And you're seeing some of the work from Jaco, huge credit to the texturing team, because they've just had so much stuff to do with all the skins lately. But and Cantemir for helping me finalize the suit design, things like that. But we've got the male and female ranger in game now. Once again, this is slightly outdated. You're seeing work that is kind of work in progress. No texturing on the suit here. It's just great.
Also, keep in mind this emblem, if you will, here on the chest.
Oh
this is going to be your ranking in PvP right here in the arena.
So I'll give you a little backstory on that. And this is sometimes like, I don't know if it's Aaron wants to kill me or not, but
let me full screen you, Aaron. Okay, go ahead and say it.
So Aaron, I came to Aaron like 6 months ago, or a year and a half ago now, and was like, look, we want to have something really cool, like people to feel like they are a superhero in the game. I would think it would be really cool to have the Ranger's rank badge, which is also connected to your Illuvitar badge. Like in game, like your rank, when you have an Illuvitar displayed, what you're seeing there is the base of that. You'll notice on a lot of the stuff we've shared with Illuvitars and how it looks finally in game, yes, has that rank badge. And I wanted to show that update in game as you ranked up in the PvP arena. And so we went through and made, heaps of different ranks, which are dependent on the material and the amount of notches you have, as well as the underlying shape of the badge itself, to demonstrate your progression through PvP, starting from bronze, silver, gold, diamond, hollow, dark hollow, obelisk. Whether or not those are final is irrelevant, but we've built all of those badges, and so that as you play in PvP, you will see that update. That may not go in straight away, because I remember things very differently. I said to Aaron when he goes, dude, we can't do that. And I was like, yeah, but you said we could. And he goes, no, I didn't. I said we literally couldn't do that. And then you went ahead and got everything modeled and textured. And Jaco, like I'm now seeing stuff from Jaco saying, yeah, that Grant said this is what's going in the game. And I literally said you didn't say that. And then I went back through our conversation, was like, Right. I just ignored him and still did it anyways. I don't know. You know,
I think it's a great concept, being able to show this is a challenge that like marketers have that they constantly talk about in video game marketing. How do we get the community to show off their, oopsie, I don't know what happened when my scene there got frozen, but how do we show off the competitive aspects of the game? And how do we encourage people to want to rank up and to want to participate in PvP more and be able to show off their accomplishments in game? And most of the time it ends up being in some menu somewhere or just a border around your avatar or something, but having it actually on your effing character in the game, displayed right in the center of your chest, this is the first time I've ever seen this. And so this is going to be really, really cool and give people even more motivation to rank up, to play the game more. And it's more of that sort of social proof. Everybody always tries to figure out a way outside of the game to implement this system. Why not just put it directly onto the character? It's a brilliant move.
Which leads into another one of the obvious things that we needed in the overworld, and Ben agrees with this. I'm not sure if Aaron agrees with this. I'm sure he does, but just thinks probably it's just too far away. But outside of Illuvials in the overworld, outside of PvP being released, Illuvium was never meant to be multiplayer in the overworld. But one of the things that, let's just say we get open beta out, the game's a success. What do we do next? What's obvious to us? That would be making Sancta Mesa a multiplayer hub where you can load in, and we don't have to have really complex mechanics there. It could just be a server where you can load in with your friends and see or interact with each other before loading into one of the overworld runs. It might be simple, it might be a basic implementation like at the start of a PUBG game, but it would start changing the feel, and it would start being the first step towards getting a multiplayer experience in the overworld. And those are the types of things that are very obvious to us, but they're just a little bit far away, and so we don't want people to think, oh, that's never coming. You know, like eventually, if it's voted on by council that that's the direction we need to go, we're well aware of things that will make the game perceived totally differently. It just takes a little bit of time.
Understood. Now, we promised rocks, I guess. So you mentioned it in your post. I don't know. If you don't watch the show, it's an inside joke. You don't have to get it. But what are we looking at here with these? I'm just going to kind of flip through them, but they're these beautiful 3-tiered artworks.
Yep.
Are these also going to become fully fleshed out NFTs as well?
Absolutely.
My God. So this is just the beginning of the quality that we're going to deliver. I'm just going to kind of flip through them quickly here. Aren't these gorgeous?
Look, the amount of work that needs to be done in terms of artwork to display things that are happening in the game is absolutely huge. Some of those things aren't NFTs and others are. But for example, the augments in the game.
Yes.
We have augments that you can mine or build, like craft, for the auto battler. And then there are legendary augments. And the legendary augments, that's a part of the PvP experience where at the start of each round, you both bid on like really powerful augments that totally change the game. Like you were sharing earlier, like the tidal wave in the video stuff that we didn't really cover. But that tidal wave is the result of a player bidding on a legendary augment and it changing the battle, right? So those legendary augments in the UI at the start of the round that you bid on need high quality artwork, even though you can't collect the legendaries as NFTs. And we're going through the process now of reimagining what the augment artwork is. And so if you go back to sharing some of the artworks that Vincent and Florian have been working on, there you go. Like this is my bad, right? I've done some things that I think are great, and then other things that didn't make any sense from a game design perspective, and that's on me. And one of those first mistakes I made was with the augment system, not doing unique art for them. And I just got in my head that if we made something simple, people would learn what each augment was. That wasn't the case. Anyone who's played our survival game knows that the augments are very difficult to know what does what, and that's because there wasn't a unique enough visual cue to detail what the actual augments are doing. So
Makes
Florian
sense. I mean, they're essentially, I mean, they aren't activatable, but they're essentially an ability, right?
yeah,
So
for the
similar to the
Illuvials,
icons you'd see in a real-time strategy game like StarCraft or Warcraft,
yep,
the passive that the various units have, you need, if it's defensive, you need a shield, and if it's fire, you need a ball of fire, and it needs to be understandable at a glance. So like when you zoom out to this small, everyone, you need to be
yes,
like, oh, this green thing right here, I can see at a glance, that is a shield. So I'm glad we're doing unique art from this. Whatever, lesson learned, man. But if at the end of the day we get beautiful AAA looking art and it makes the game even better, wonderful. That's a part of the process of creation. You can't know everything ahead of time, Grant. Don't beat yourself up.
Well, we don't lose that old artwork, by the way. The artwork I did for the old augments will change to something like badges you get for completing things in the overworld, like defeating a certain amount of characters, catching
Right.
an X amount of X character, winning X amount of games in PvP, or certain rewards like that. That will be its own little NFT or whatever you get, or in-game UI feature. But that artwork I did doesn't get thrown away. We just use it somewhere else.
Now, these are going to be turned into NFTs, right? I think you mentioned that.
Yes.
So they're already kind of in that 3D context here within the static image. What exactly are these two images here, and why do they need to be NFTs?
So these are drone components of drone items, right? Like an index capacitor or whatever. Like that, we have 28 of these that are going in the game that you have to build, and each one of those needs really high quality artwork to match. And right now, like you'll notice that in our game in the beta, certain things just don't match the quality of the alluvial artwork. So I've been going through trying to solve, while Dimitri and Connor work on the alluvials, how to get the non-alluvial NFTs and artworks looking to match, looking to match that quality. And so you're just seeing the start of that process where each of these will be animated also, right? Like this will either be rotating on the screen, and if you own that, if you've mined and crafted that item in game, you want to know that in game it looks good. So everything's getting updated.
I love it. Even our drone components are better looking NFTs than the top NFT projects out there. I love it, man. Like everything that we can push to the limit we do. Help me understand this. So we went over updated art for Illuvium 0, the zoomed out art, and this Halcyon Sea art was recently shared. Is this just a recent refresh on that Halcyon Sea?
We needed to update. So originally we made the artwork more zoomed in, right? And each one of these artworks was like custom made for that exact proportion, zoom out stage. So when we realized early on that people really wanted the ability to zoom out and see their entire city in Illuvium 0, it meant set extending the backgrounds, and that took a lot of work. Connor worked on that for 6 to 7 months, just doing the set extensions. But Connor used to work with Dimitri and I in the high-end print advertising industry. So the artwork was always going to be incredible. And the work he did on Illuvium 0 just saved Dimitri and I so much pain and stress, because we had so much other stuff to do on the NFTs. And I think the end result, when we get the zoom out functionality into Illuvium 0, is just going to completely change people's perception of the game. Because the artwork, to me, we went from having the worst graphics in a mobile game ever to arguably the best in this class. This kind of
this city builder type of game. Yeah.
This isometric city builder game. So super proud of what Connor was able to do with that for us, and take that high-end print advertising experience and keep the quality up to what Dimitri and I's standards are.
Why not use just a Adobe Photoshop generative fill? Why are you even using artists? I kid.
I was literally just thinking about that, and the scary thing is it would probably work. Like, it would probably work, but what can you do? You know, I
Yeah.
was using the generative fill
So
last
so
week.
so people
And
know what we're talking about. Generative fill is basically, it uses AI. So let's say it only the AI only knew, let's say, I'm just drawing a square, like
Mhm,
this region of the picture, let's say,
mhm.
but you wanted to fill in, and maybe you didn't want to pay an artist to fill in the stuff up here and the stuff up here and the stuff here, etc. Right? And you wanted to expand the view. The AI can more or less guess pretty accurately what should be around the center section, and then just generate the art for you. It's pretty
It
wild.
learns the perspective, the lens details,
Mm-hmm.
distortion, things like that. It is quite scary. The only saving grace that makes me sane is knowing that the quality is not always the same and there is issues. And you know, the difference is we've built this out in 3D, right? AI generative fill means that those aren't actual assets that we
They're
built.
just images, right?
It's just a single image that was generated. Everything we've done and set out to do in this game is meant to be interoperable, and that includes on a fundamental level with our workflow that each asset needs to be able to be used somewhere else. If we ever did a cinematic or a Netflix series, the work we've done in Illuvium Zero has to be able to be translated to that format, and it can, and it has. You're seeing assets from the game that Connor has repurposed to work in Illuvium Zero. So as good as generative fill may be, we don't have the luxury of using that stuff, but
Yet,
who
until we get
knows?
3D generative fill.
Yes, until we get 3D generative fill in
Yeah.
3 hours.
AI generative fill this. So we've got some beautiful abyssal basin images here. I've got a series of them. Can you just help us understand what you were showing off here in these updates when you released these on
Well,
Discord?
we didn't have as much time to polish and look dev Abyssal Basin and Brightland Steps as we did with Crimson Waste, because
Right.
we're trying to hit targets with beta releases and things like that. And this is still work in progress stuff. The end region may or may not end up looking like this. There are certain limitations with the region, but I just wanted to share that even though the private beta 2 for the Overworld just came out, we had already been revamping and reworking how the region would look in a open beta state, right? Like out of this rush state where we had to just get it playable. So I personally don't think Abyssal Basin in private beta 2 looked anywhere near as good as it will in the end. You know, Crimson was far more developed and had far more time spent on look dev. So the work Mark and Martian are doing on Abyssal right now, you're going to see that region also transform. And I'll wait to talk about the work that Mark's done on a future showcase, because he's completely swapped over the game to a different color profile and workflow that has had drastic effects on how we look dev the game itself. But that's his glory. It was his understanding of color profiles and Unreal Engine in the film industry for him to be able to do that for us. So like, I don't want to take anything from him in that sense. So we'll have to get him on a showcase to talk about that stuff that he's done. But you're going to see the game feel and look slightly different, slightly more easy on the eyes. The Illuvials in the auto battle will pop more. All the colors will look a little bit more like the NFT renders we did. And I'm really excited to share like how the actual raw graphics of Illuvium will change as we polish. The game is not done.
That's incredible. What is a subordinate drone? Help me understand here why we have super cute baby drones now, Grant.
So I don't want to say anything that may or may not happen.
We can just leave it at what's on the screen if you want.
The idea is that when you play the game, you don't have access to Mozart, and you will have to choose one of 3 other drones. And we have Hilda here, which is meant to, they each have different personalities, because when you're playing PvP, you don't want everyone to have the same drone. And the drones serve the purpose of like, they're trying to defeat each other in PvP. And so we want some personality and charm between the type of drone you choose. So we've got Buck, which was another one of the drones we shared. We've got Hilda, and then we have a third one that is yet to be designed, and the player will choose from those. Similar to Arlen, you don't get to choose Arlen in the game. I believe that will be something as well that happens later. You have to unlock Mozart as a drone. But once again, don't want to say anything that may or may not be leakable, but that's the idea behind these additional drones. You know, when you win a round in PvP, your drone will be attacking the other player's drone and weakening them, and there will be VFX attached to that, obviously sounds for each of the drones, and you don't want every single player to have the exact same drone. I think it would get old.
I agree. Speaking of drone variety, just a couple concept arts for different skins. This is a drone skin, obviously inspired by Ramfire. Look at the little halo up top, guys. Come on! I love it. Even the tops of them are all unique. I mean, come on, the attention to detail on all of these. Look at this. So
and it's
beautiful.
Crazy that we've developed a workflow that minimizes the amount of time spent retexturing the different drones. So all the drones have, 4 legs, a body with those 2 sections, and we need to be able to transfer the work we're doing on the Mozart drone skins over to Hilda and Bach. And we've got that down, we've optimized it where it takes about half as long to do the other drone skins. But you've got to give it to the team when we've got so many of these textures to do to put the emphasis we have on skins and make them work across, just from concept to the texturing team, the sculpting team working on the skins as well. Like, we've got all hands on deck on skins at the moment because we started running out of in-game assets to build, like rocks. But very exciting to see skins come together. And now that the male and female ranger assets are completed by Jaco, we can start texturing the male and ranger skins, and you'll start seeing them go from concept to in-game, and in future episodes, that's where we'll be.
Beautiful. And here we've got a battle board that's obviously work in progress. So let's show this off. 4 images of this. What's the context that we want to share on this on these battle board images, with Arlen T-posing in the middle?
Yeah, the skins in the PvP mode are going to be one of the integral parts of keeping the game looking fresh and unique. Obviously, other games we are competitive with like TFT, the battle boards are constantly changing between seasons, and we need to do the same. So battle board skins will be NFTs that you can either collect, win, or develop as you play the game. And we wanted to create quite a lot of variation in the type of battle board that you can get. So this is something that Emil has been working on. It's like a variation of the Crimson Waste battle board that's up on top on Cinder. And these are just skins, right? So the PvP arena, the survival arena, is built in the Sancta Mesa hub. And I'll share this on a future episode, basically like how this stuff connects, but these aren't real places in the Illuvium universe. These are projections, holographic projections in the survival arena. So they don't have to adhere to lore. And, we have a skin that's just a bunch of giant Mozart drones that if you go back through leaks and you're interested in checking out, and I think we shared it on the previous showcase as well.
Yeah, we did. I mean, yeah, so the battle boards can be maybe closer references to the place that you are, especially if you're, let's say, battling within an overworld region, and it can go all the way into the fantastical and fun just for the lulz. So there's a wide range. And to your point, having variety in battle boards is #1 priority, and making it fun is #1 priority. Imagine when you're scrolling through the couple hundred live streams for Illuvium, you see all these different battle boards, all these different drones, all these different configurations, all these different skins. Each player will look different, and their stream will look different, and their experience will look different on multiple different levels. And that's what's really important for keeping not only the game fresh, but also keeping you know, the more that your game can have close to infinity content for people to enjoy, the longer its lifespan can be, and the more engaged it'll be. More people want to cover it. So the battle boards are essential for that.
Yeah, I agree, and especially if some of these aren't things that you can just get easily, like if you have to be a certain rank in the game at the end of a season to unlock a skin. You know, so next season, you're the only anyone who had that high rank in the game has that skin attached. So when people are watching the stream, they don't see that on someone who's a lower ranked player. You know, like trying to tie it into the competitive aspect of the game, but we have an amazing environment department, and the skins that you saw there, like people may be wondering, why are you working on skins instead of the other regions? Well, that was just during the art lock period for PV2. Now that PV2 is finished, the team's less working on skins and more straight back onto Tiger Boreal and stuff like that. So don't worry, our priorities are still make all the overworld regions first, skins come later. We do want a few at launch, but we won't be doing, 20 skins for launch.
Well, and the more they release over time in update packages, the more excitement there can be. Next update, handful of skins, new battle board, new this, new that, new region. I mean, it'll be a constant rollout of fresh content post-launch. And so everybody who's paying attention right now can see into the future of post-launch updates and content and see how the team cooks up those ideas and starts to prepare which ones we're going to actually put into production and put into our games. Grant, that's it for our leaks for this week. I cherry-picked select ones so that everyone knows that they can go on Discord and you will just randomly just dump leaks, sometimes 2 posts a day. Double the leaks, baby. It just depends on how Grant's feeling that day.
Depends on what we're working on. Sometimes it's things that we can't share. A lot of the times I get told, don't leak it. I have to go against that to keep the community happy. But there's some really big things we're doing right now that I can't share, which is sad, but future episode, we should have them in. Like I said, the big thing to look forward to next episode, we'll be just showing a glimpse of what Illuvials in the overworld look like. I think that's going to get people really excited. It's going to make people see, right, they actually do know what they're doing, and the game is worth the wait.
Yes. I think once people play PvP as well, it's going to be a huge unlock for them with Arena and going, oh, now it's all coming together. That's why they needed to test PvE first. Now I get PvP. Now it's every major leap forward. It's a huge aha moment for everyone. So Grant, man, I love doing the show with you. And thank you so much for all of the extra insights you provided everyone. We really appreciate it.
You too, man. Thank you very much. And thanks to the community for having that patience with us. You can see some stuff's getting there.
Indeed. Thanks, Grant. I'm going to boot you out so I can play some of that music that you shared with everyone. Amazing. So everybody, go ahead, get your big, expensive headphones on. I put your chat over here on the side. Get your big, expensive headphones like Grant has on, and we'll listen to some music. Adios, Grant. Have a great day, buddy.
See you, man. Catch you later.
All right. So I'm going to play some music for you guys, and I'll just tell you what the tracks are. Headphones on, volume up. Let me turn off the background music, and as we exit the show, all your comments will be on the screen, and I'll play this back for you. So the first one I'm going to play for you, which we didn't share earlier, is Earth Stage 1 music. Let me crank the volume. Enjoy. All right, and here's Fire Stage 1. Here's Mud. This is the music that will potentially be used on NFTs. You're getting a preview of it now. This is Mud. That one is by far my favorite out of all of them. Here is Nature Stage 2 preview. Never before heard. All right, here is Steam. Here's Tempest. It's a little louder. Tempest. You can hear the conflict in the Tempest music. Really cool. And the last one I'll share here is Wildfire. All right, that's it for music previews for today. Thank you so much, everybody, for watching. We really appreciate all of you. Thanks for coming to Illuvium Showcase. We'll be back next month with another episode. In the meantime, see you on Discord, and thank you all so much for your support as we polish up these games and we move ever faster toward open beta with the first ever interoperable blockchain games in the same universe. We'll pull it off, and it'll be worth the wait. Thanks for watching.